You get the promotion at work, the relationship is healthy, everything around you is fine. So why do you suddenly feel terrified? Some minds simply cannot trust a good day. Instead of enjoying the peace, they immediately begin scanning the horizon, bracing for the next inevitable disaster. People often call this a bad attitude. They tell you to just think positive, framing your worry as a deliberate choice or a frustrating personality flaw. But psychology reveals a very different reality. This constant expectation of the worst is rarely a conscious decision. It is a deeply conditioned mental program operating entirely on autopilot, which raises a strange question. Why would a human brain that actively desires peace and happiness spend so much of its energy hunting for pain and failure? The mind treats happiness as a vulnerability. It scans for threats to ensure it won't be caught off guard, a biological system prioritizing safety over satisfaction. Behavioral economist Daniel Kahneman spent his career analyzing how our minds process information. He found that our brains evolved to make incredibly fast, fear-based decisions, because for early humans, missing a predator meant death. This scale illustrates negativity bias. Notice how a single failure crashes the scale, overpowering 10 successes. That heavy impact is biological. Ancestors survived because neurochemistry prioritized remembering a threat over enjoying a sunset. This ancient system still governs us today. Psychiatrist Vessel van der Kolk has documented what happens when this biological alarm system collides with early experiences of trauma, emotional neglect, or a highly unstable household. If you grew up in a constantly stressful environment, your nervous system was routinely flooded with cortisol. The brain becomes hyper-alert, locking itself into a chronic state of defense known as survival mode. Once the nervous system adapts to living in survival mode, it cannot easily turn off. The traumatized mind is forced to endlessly repeat the defensive behavioral patterns it learned during moments of acute emotional pain. Over time, the traumatized brain calculates that anticipating disaster will soften the blow of actual failure. Psychologists call this defensive pessimism. By actively doubting opportunities, maintaining emotional distance from loved ones, the brain proactively shields against disappointment. The brain relies on confirmation bias. Watch this cognitive filter. The mind rejects evidence of success, but lets betrayal pass through. Collecting only proof supporting its fears tricks your mind into believing pessimism is objective reality. Modern life pours gasoline on this fire. Endless social media feeds filled with fear-based content, arguments, and bad news perfectly exploit this biological filter, rapidly pushing an already tired brain into total emotional numbness. The behavior we judge so harshly in ourselves and others makes perfect sense. Sometimes pessimism is just fear wearing armor. When these defenses are stripped away, we find a history of unhealed wounds. Most chronic negativity is the outward expression of a nervous system that has been hurt and never quite recovered. And because these defenses are an adaptation to a hostile environment, they are not permanent. Psychologist Martin Seligman established through his research that these pessimistic survival patterns are entirely learned behaviors. Through neuroplasticity, the physical brain can literally rewire itself. Repetition and new experiences slowly overwrite old survival programming. You unlearn the fear by placing yourself in healthier environments but calm the nervous system. You use gratitude training to manually override your natural negativity bias, and you pursue therapy to process the trauma keeping your alarm systems triggered. It takes time, patience, and small daily victories. A wounded brain will instinctively see danger, even when standing safely inside happiness. But what is learned by the mind can also be unlearned. Sometimes changing your life simply begins with changing the story your mind repeats to itself every day.